and I'm curious as to how that fed in. Oh, I just lied to you guys. This is not a bleed resistor. That is the charge/discharge path of these, of where the nickel cadmium batteries were. So when plus 5 volts is on, it feed current through this diode, through this resistor, and charge these batteries, sort of a trickle charger. But when plus 5 volts is off, the voltage stored in the batteries would come back through this resistor, through this trace here, hence why it's SB for standby, and then feed voltage all the way across the card and just power up these SRAMs. Now, they must have had a version of the sign where this option wasn't populated and they could pull this little jumper off, twist it, and plug it into plus 5. So every time you lost power to your sign, the RAM would get wiped out because it didn't have power to keep running. Put this away. I need a power supply. And where is it at? Let's use this one, should do. This is my trusty IBM XT PC power supply, super duper mess in a box. Let me get some alligator clips. Oops. Pile of alligator clips. And I'll need a power cord. Never have too many power cords. I should have one. Oh, there it is. Nice long power cord. This power brick is probably, it's not old as I am because the XTs weren't out when I was born, but let's put it this way. I've had this probably for at least 20 years since I originally modified it. So it's a little dated, but it does the job. So let's hook this bad boy up and see what happens. So there we got ground. And for right now, I'm just going to hook the LED array to the logic array and power that up to 5 volts. Nothing. Which I'm not too surprised about. I have no idea what condition the sign is in. So the fact that it doesn't light up isn't really a surprise to me at all. Now let's do some little poking around and see if we can make it light up. So first things first, let's make sure I got 5 volts. Cool. I got 5 volts there. So these were, as you remember, these are the 7406 high voltage open collector drivers. So when their inputs are high, or their inputs are low, the output should be high, which they are. And then up here we have those other test points which hook to here. So we have a low there. Now I need another couple jumpers, actually just one. Since these are open collector drivers, I should be able to just clip on and hook these to ground without it doing any harm to anything else in the circuit. This isn't going to work. Time for different alligator clips. Okay, so this feeds down to there. And voila! Well, we got some LEDs on. Now, why do we have this random pattern? I don't know yet. But let's do some poking along here and see what the gate drives are. So that one's low. And if I move one more over, that one's high. So apparently, when these 273s initialized, or whatever little snippet of program that's left in here initialized, it left some of these with all the outputs high and some with all the outputs low. I'm guessing it's just random initialization, since the fact that this whole bank of 8 is on, or sorry, this whole bank of 8 is off, this whole bank of 8 is off, and then everyone else is on in that row. So I think it's just whatever state this thing powered up into, that's what we got. Now, if I continue to poke my way down through here and don't hit power, I should be able to cause everything to light up. Now, it's interesting that the gap's moving around as I cycle through these. You know, I would have expected... Oh, there we got a bit off. Oh, I smell something hot. That's the other thing to do, is when you smell hot, stop. Now the question is, where did the hot smell come from? And it's from the transistors on the back. For some reason this transistor is getting really hot compared to his neighbors. Now that might be just because that was the last one I was sitting on, or there's a short somewhere on this card and it's heating the works up. Oh, where's it ground? I think this is ground. So let's just flip through this a little quicker. Good, 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 good. Now why? Don't know why that got hot all of a sudden. Okay, let's poke that. Okay, it looks like I'm getting some sort of bleed back through some port of the circuit that's causing the registers to change state as I'm poking things. Now, there's many reasons why that could be. One, they might have expected an isolated power supply up here, so I might have some sort of current feedback loops going on. Two, I may just have a bad gate somewhere in here, or one of these two is blown, so instead of being an open collector driver this way, it's actually letting stuff back and forth. The readings I took off here, I was getting 1 volt here when I was turning on this row and 0 volts when I was turning here, but this one was at 3 volts. Leads me to believe I got some sort of weird current feedback, something going on. That did not look completely normal, but we'll have to do some more digging into this. I think I'm going to take a quick break here and sort of plan out my next path of attack. I think I'm going to start stripping some of the excess logic off the card that I know I'm not going to reuse. So the column drivers and the row drivers I definitely will reuse. The 373 or 273 latches I think I'll reuse, but a lot of this stuff down here I really don't see I have a use for, so I'm just gonna do some poking around and try to come up with a quick game plan.